I can't even tell you how many people sent me an email about this particular story. Just I looked up and just everybody wanted me to talk about this. But when you hear the details, I think you'll see why. Again, shout out to Sheriff Grady Judd out of Polk County. So I like to think that me and him think along the same lines. I know we might not look the same. Let me see if I get his picture back up here real quick. This gentleman right there. We might not look alike at all, but I can guarantee you that we hate a lot of the same things, and especially people who hurt, murder, and abuse children, we think is extremely, extremely distasteful, and that thing has to be punished to no end to make people think twice before they do something to our babies out here, right? So here's what I want to do. Let me give you guys a disclaimer because this might be your first time here. Some viewers may find the following content offensive and controversial. The information in this video comes from multiple sources, including court records, official police charges, news web articles, and interviews. This video commentary also contains my personal opinions about the facts of this story. The point is to use this story as a cautionary tale in hopes of preventing tragedies like these to children going forward. Viewer discretion is advised. That is your official disclaimer. Let me take a pause real quick, and I'm getting this information from lawandcrime.com, so thank you so much for the article. Let me say thank you to, that is Crafty, let me see, Crafty Florida Lady. Are you out of Florida? Thank you so much for that. And if you are, I'm curious if you heard about this story too, because you might have been one of the people that emailed me also. Let me know. Because I know everybody in Florida had to heard about this because they sent this to me so quick. They were sending me TikToks of this story. They were sending me YouTube news videos of this story. Because y'all know, don't send the content creator videos. News stories, that's a little bit different. But if you send them from the website, it's a whole lot easier. So I'd like to welcome to the chat. Let me see, Scarlett James, Brian Watt, Doohickey, Carolina Kim, and TK. Y'all now have channel access. I'm going to read that again. Scarlett James, Brian Watt, Doohickey, Carolina Kim, and TK. By way of Crafty Florida Lady, you guys now have channel memberships. That is actually pretty freaking cool. So thank you, Crafty Florida Lady. Much, 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 much love. If y'all can, give her some heart emojis in there. Some prayer hand emojis. I think that's pretty dope. So thank you very much for bringing some extra people in the chat. Let's get it. So again, I'm getting this story from lawandcrime.com. So thank you to them. They do an amazing job keeping up with all of this stuff. And what one Florida sheriff called the worst case that he has ever seen, and keep in mind, he's seen a lot. A couple is accused of letting their comatose 3-year-old boy, a 3-year-old child, comatose, rot in his bed after authorities discovered his lifeless, ulcerous body with gaping wounds, no rectum, and a hole with intestines, spinal column, and colon was visible. I know you might not be prepared to hear that graphic thing, so maybe I'll try to put up a disclaimer on the replay. I'm sorry if I didn't warn you guys about that. That is really, really gruesome to hear, but it gets worse. But let me tell you guys more about this. The bitches, excuse me, these awesome pillars of the black community, these two fools right here that you guys see on my screen, let me back that up for a moment. Right here, Takesha Williams, 24 years old. I don't know what it is about these ladies by the name of Takesha Williams. Just seem like that's a murderous name to give somebody. You got Takesha Williams out of Stockton, California, and now you got this Takesha Williams. 24 years old. Ephraim Allen, E-F-R-E-M Allen Jr., 25 years old. Both were booked into jail on charges of negligent child abuse causing great harm, resulting in the death of a 3-year-old toddler, according to officials. The charges were upgraded on Friday to aggravated manslaughter of a child. I really don't want to go back and reread those details. Go to lawandcrime.com, go to their website, and you can read those details again. Man, they messed this boy up real bad. The baby, who was not identified, which is why we don't have a picture, but We'll worry about that another time. If I get an update and we can pay homage to that baby, I probably will post it in the thumbnail so you guys can see it there. Was found on May the 12th with no pulse and connected to a ventilator when Bartow Fire Rescue responded to a 911 call from the mother saying the child's pulse meter was not working correctly. He had been under home care after a near drowning accident in the summer of 2020 at a vacation home in Davenport, Florida. They let this baby rot in its bed, according to Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd said in a news conference following the arrest, and I will let you guys hear directly from him. I've done this for 5 decades, and I've seen thousands of abused children, hundreds of children murdered at the hands of parents. I have never seen the horror that we saw with this poor child at the hands of these 2 people. Judd said it began in July 2020 when this beautiful baby boy was only 10 months old. He toddled off in the pool and nearly drowned at a short-term rental home. Despite life-saving efforts then, the child had no brain activity, and when he got to the hospital and could not even blink, the sheriff Judd said, Doctors recommended to the parents that he be removed from life-saving measures because the child would forever be in a coma with no brain activity. This part is extremely important. Can we get a hashtag? One of the AFC podcasts' famous hashtags is hashtag babies for benefits. I heard somebody doing a podcast the other day and read that out, and I was like, I wish more people knew where it came from. That's an AFC hashtag that we made almost 5 years ago. I've got t-shirts and everything with it. Hashtag babies for benefits. The reason that I use that hashtag is because there are too many people who only have children to collect benefits off of them. Let me explain why I say that. Because you might be saying, well, this was a tragic accident and the kid had no brain activity and they loved this kid before this thing happened, which is very possible. Here's the thing. Doctors are very smart people. I believe that doctors have seen a lot. They've gone through a lot. They've had a lot of training, right? They understand human emotion. They're human. They have emotions. And they understand that if you have a child that is going to be in a condition like this, they're going to recommend to you the best course of action. Ma'am and sir, this is what we think you should do because of such and such and such and such. This child is never going to come out of this coma. We recommend that you take this child off of life support, and guess what that means? That means there are no legal ramifications if you say, okay, we agree, we're going to go ahead and take our child off of life support. There's nothing more that we can do. There's no hope for this child returning back to normal, right? So here's what you'd have to ask, because I'm pretty sure any YouTuber that has talked about this story, anybody, like I know there were a lot of people I never even heard of that talked about this story that I saw, and I haven't watched them, but I can tell you this. They didn't make the connection and say, well, why didn't they just take the child off of life support? Here's why. Because I can almost guarantee you there was a benefit that they were collecting off of this child in some shape, form, or fashion. Do I know exactly what that is? No, I don't. But I have to assume, because if you clearly didn't give a rat's ass about this baby who was at your absolute mercy, why would you continue to keep them in this state knowing that they can never return to normal? The only thing that I can think of is they had to been getting something. I don't know whether there were child support payments, if this was both of their children, I don't know, right? Maybe they were getting some type of disability benefits from the state, from the government, from the feds. We have a disabled child at home, and now we can get medication, now we can get money. See what I'm saying? There had to have been a reason for them to flat out say, okay, we don't care about this child anymore, we got to let it go. And they said, no, we want to keep this child alive, when the doctors recommended that it's going to be pointless to do that. Everybody follow me? Do y'all understand why I got so worked up about this when I saw this story? And I'm pretty sure, see, some of y'all have been watching my channel for a while, and I can almost guarantee you when y'all saw this, that's why y'all emailed me. You was like, oh, wait till Jay get this. It had to been for a reason. Now, what I would like to see them do while they prosecute this case, add that extra charge. Look it up. Find out what benefits they were getting. Just bring it up. You don't even have to charge them for it. Just bring it up in the court documents so when we see it, we'll know, oh, that's why. They could have been getting SSD. It could have been anything. But let's keep going. I want y'all to remember that. Bookmark that. We'll come back to it. The parents did not want to do that, and they didn't want to take the child off of life support, and were sent home with their infant on a ventilator with a stomach tube and home health care 3 times a week for over 2 years, according to the sheriff. The parents began to reject assistance for the boy in October, which was the last time home health care dealt with the child. Let me say that again. They rejected assistance. That's a choice, which is why they're being charged. When healthcare workers knocked, they would not be home, would not answer the door, Judd said. DCF told authorities that when they went to the apartment to see the child, the parents said, "Don't wake the child up today." Judd said that the mother had been receiving benefits to stay home and care for the baby, but suggested the suspects got tired of his intensive care. I'm going to take a sip of this wine. Because I said, that's the only thing that made sense. Or maybe I've been just doing this too long. I'm going to read that again. Judd said that the mother had been receiving benefits to stay home and care for the baby. Why? Because the individual that you guys see on my screen is a lazy bitch. And so is the dude that she was fucking on and valued the dick more than her son. Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Hashtag spot on. Thank you. That's freaking disgusting. The mother had been receiving benefits to stay at home, but she got tired of taking care of the responsibility. So she didn't want to go take her lazy, sorry, punk ass out there and go get a job. This is now her job, and then she didn't even want to do that. I just think that speaks to the character of who she is and the essence of who she is, and maybe even the people that raised her. Maybe we could blame her family too. Maybe we could blame them. Maybe we could blame their family tree, right? I just don't think you can be this inherently dumb without some help. I think there was more people to help create this stupid individual. Both of them, actually. I suggest to you, and this is only supposition on my part, they got tired of the baby, according to Judd, which is what happened. The grim discovery was made the morning of May 12th when Williams and Allen noticed he was cold to the touch. His stomach was bloated and the pulse oximeter was malfunctioning. Williams waited until 3 p.m. to call 911. Let me say that again. Waited until 3 p.m. to call 911. This is really not an emergency. You don't need red lights or sirens, but we'd like fire to come over and check on the baby. I want you guys to notice she was very specific about that. When paramedics arrived, they saw the child hooked up to a working ventilator, but there appeared to be no life in the child. This child was rotting in bed. The baby was rushed to the hospital where he died. When medical personnel removed his diapers and clothes, they noticed ulcers and large gaping wounds throughout the body down into the muscle. They just every day just left him there and didn't do anything in order for it to get that bad. Some of you guys might not know this, but at one point in time, I actually trained to be a CNA. I was looking for a job at the time. I was looking for job security at the time. And I thought that might be a cool program to get into in order to always be able to have a job. One thing I didn't think about is the fact that you have to really give a damn about doing your job, or it could have some dire consequences with not cleaning people's bed sheets and helping people and turning them over and cleaning them up when they make a mess and stuff like that. It's a very, very demanding job. So after I think my second or third day of clinicals, I realized this isn't the job for me. So me being a mature person, a mature-minded person, instead of me just taking that job just for the money, I said to myself, Jay, you don't want to do this. It needs to be somebody in this position that actually cares enough to do this job and do it right. So I got into sales. I got out of the CNA business and got into sales. Sales was more of my thing. I say that even to relate to this story. You can't ask a person to take on a disabled special needs child and they don't actually want to do it. If they're doing it for anything, if they're doing it for the benefit of money, then they're doing it for the wrong reasons. Just want to throw that out there. He had large gaping wounds throughout his body down to the muscle, and the child smelled of decomposition. They noticed that there was no rectum, R-E-C-T-U-M, no rectum. There was just a big gaping hole where the intestines and the spinal column was visible. That is freaking disgusting. So guess what else that also means? That means the whole... I can't talk without cussing. I'm sorry. That means the whole freaking house smelled like death, smelled like rotting flesh and uncleanliness, uncleanly bodily fluids and everything. And you just, every day just stayed in the house just so you wouldn't have to work, and you just tried to ignore the smell. You get used to the smell of death. You know how mentally messed up you got to be to do that? And an emergency room doctor said that the child had not had appropriate care for months. A medical examiner said that the child had sepsis, a bilateral pneumonia, and stage 5 ulcers. Authorities said Williams and Allen noticed the boy had a large open sore, but feared contacting anybody because they feared the Florida Department of Children and Family Services would take their 2 other young children away. Their 2 other meal tickets. I'm adding that part in there. They didn't say that part. I'm saying that part. I'm calling those 2 other children meal tickets because you can clearly tell that they don't care about children. They don't care about life. They don't care about anything. Those 2 other children, 2 years old and 10 years old, appeared to be healthy and were removed from their care. They stated that people would assume there was neglect, authorities said in a news release. However, they stated that the victim is not neglected. Judge said that his goal is to send them to prison for as long as we can. And then from there, God's got to take over. Williams and Allen are being held in Polk County Jail on a $100,000 bond each. I don't even know why they get a bond. Maybe one of y'all can let me know why they deserve a bond. Let's get it. Some viewers may find the following... And you've already heard that. So let me give you guys the fair usage. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. And if you guys want to help us, all you got to do is click that thumbs up. It'll bring more people here so they can watch this podcast together. So if you guys would, we want to have 1 thumb up for everybody watching. Please hit that thumbs up. Look down there for a moment. Here we go. Let's get it.
Before I get halfway through this press conference, You will be thinking, why in the world is he saying these horrible things? Well, you need to know. You need to know in the real world, when people don't do what's right, really, really, really bad things happen. So we're going to tell you what this child experienced at the hands of their parents because the parents didn't do the right thing. I want to introduce you to the parents, to Keisha Williams, who's 24, and Ephraim Allen Jr., who's 25. Here's when it all began. In July of 2020, when this beautiful baby boy was only 10 months old, he suffered a near-drowning experience at a short-term rental in the northeast area of the county. A near drowning. He toddled off into the pool. There was life-saving efforts to try to save this baby's life. When they got him to the hospital at the conclusion of all of their valiant efforts, the child had no brain activity, could not even blink his eyes, cannot move his extremities, and quite frankly, it was recommended to the parents that he be removed from any life-saving measure or ever be in a coma with no brain activity. They didn't want to do that. So ultimately, these parents were sent home with their infant on a ventilator, a permanent ventilator, with a stomach tube. And health care, home health care 3 times a week. Now that went on for over 2 years. As of last October, the parents began to reject the home health care. Despite the health care company's best efforts, they would not be home, would not answer the door. So the last time home health care dealt with this child was in October of last year. Understand, all of this was occurring at absolutely no cost to the parents. In fact, the mother was receiving benefits to stay home and take care of this baby. So let's fast forward to Friday, May the 12th. There's a 911 call to the city of Bartow, to the Azalea Apartments where they live, where the mother said, you know, the child's pulsometer is not working correctly. This is really not an emergency. You don't need red lights and sirens, but we'd like fire to come over and check the baby. So they responded to the house in a normal, routine fashion. And when they arrived, they saw this child hooked up to a ventilator. And this ventilator was working appropriately, but there appeared to be no life in the child. This child had an extremely extended stomach, and it was green. This child was rotting in the bed. They rushed this baby to the hospital, where for over an hour, or about an hour, between EMS, fire services, and medical personnel, they tried to save this baby's life. At the hospital, when they started taking off the diapers and the clothes, they noticed ulcers, large gaping wounds through the body down into the muscle. They noticed there was no rectum. There was just a big gaping hole where the intestines and the spinal column was visible. They notified the Bartow Police Department, who immediately said, hey, we need the sheriff's office to assist us. This is a very complex investigation. So our homicide team responded. We noticed immediately the child smelled of decomposition. We went back to the house where the child laid lifeless as it had for 2 years.
Let me pause this real quick and let me ask you guys, if y'all are listening, please click that thumbs up. You guys are doing a great job. Continue to keep hitting that thumbs up so we can have at least a thumb up for everybody here. Can y'all imagine what it's like to be a police officer, an investigator? If you had to walk inside that house, go to that room, and I'm pretty sure the smell probably hit you at the door. It met you at the door. It probably greeted you before you even walked in. And you walk in there and you smell that, and then you see that defenseless child in that position, that badly decomposed to death. They basically watched him fall apart to death. I don't think that we put enough respect when people talk about defund the police and all of that stuff. We need to refund police and emergency services. I have no idea how these people do a job like that. And we expect them to be professional and everything because that's what they sign up to do. But damn, I would not want to do that.
And smelled decomposition in the room. The medical doctor at the emergency room said this child has not had the appropriate care for months. The medical examiner at the autopsy said the child had sepsis, bilateral pneumonia, stage 5 ulcers, obvious child neglect. So we talked to the parents and we go, what is going on here? They said, well, they didn't want DCF to take their children, so they didn't call. But they had tried to get more home health care. So we introduced ourselves to the potential health care providers, and they said, we accepted them. We went there and wanted to see the child. They said, don't wake the child up today. This is just an introduction. And the next time they went, nobody answered the door. So obviously they were trying to create a facade or to say, well, we asked for help. They let this baby rot and die in its bed. I've done this for 5 decades. I have seen thousands of children abused, hundreds of children murdered at the hands of parents. I have never seen the horror that we saw with this poor child at the hands of these two folks. I talked to all the detectives in the room. Have you ever seen anything like this in your life? No one has. You can't even imagine how horrible the wounds, the ulcers that this child endured at the hands of these folks. They're charged with aggravated manslaughter, among other charges, at this time. They were locked up in the county jail with a bond of $100,000. The state attorney's office actually filed direct once we got the initial medical examiner's report. The state attorney's office, Brian Haas, our state attorney, who is simply the very best, is game on every day. And I'm certain if you talk to him, he would be as mortified as we all are that this baby was left in this condition. My job is to protect children, to protect everyone. But my heart is with protecting the very youngest, because you see, they have no choice of where they live or what they eat or what they wear or who they associate with. It's up to parents to make the right decisions. And I suggest to you the right decisions haven't been made since this child was 10 months old and suffered a horrible, horrible, horrible tragedy. And then I suggest to you, and this is only supposition on my part, they just got tired of the baby. They just got tired of the intensive care this child needed. And as a result, the child laid there and suffered and suffered and suffered till finally there was no life left in the baby. There's nothing else I can tell you. If you have any questions, there's still nothing else I can tell you. You know what we know.
Curious about the other children, or do they appear to be in good health?
The other children appear to be in good health.
Sheriff, beyond what the legal system can exact on these two, what do they deserve?
Well, the legal system can only do what the legal system can do, but God's not happy. And it'll be up to God past what the legal system can do. But there's no way, no ability to imagine the torture this child has endured.
I'm not exactly sure how to put it.
And that's the operative word, like right there. He said torture. I think that counts as torture. And let me read what one of our people in the chat wrote right there. Reagan said, green coloration and decomposition is indicative of chemical changes in dead tissues that cause it. The skin can show marbling and skin slipping off. It takes a few weeks for it to be that advanced. Thank you for posting that in there. That's something I've never even heard of. But even to further the point, how do they get a $100,000 bond? It should be way more than that. They shouldn't even have a bond. Because that's intentional.
But is there any?
I'm about to release information to you, Lee, but there appeared to be no life in the child can do. But God's not happy. And it'll be up to God past what the legal system can do.
Now that audio isn't that good, even though the video is a little bit better. Let me give you guys my closing thoughts. First and foremost, I'm glad that he's at least taking this up and speaking on it. I always love to hear Chef Grady Judd do his thing and speak out and speak up for children and give them a voice. I'm definitely thankful for that. But these people, like I said, I think a life sentence is the only thing that even makes sense. You don't want them to ever have another chance to ruin another child's life. So they probably were bad parents to the other two kids, but look at how they did to the third one. That's ridiculous. So to that poor soul, we don't have a name to refer to him as or anything like that. But to that 3-year-old boy, we want to say R.I.P. But these people's souls are required in hell as soon as possible for what they did to this baby. They had the opportunity to move past this and say, we're going to allow them to take him off life support, and that would have relieved you of your legal duties as a parent. But they realized, you know what? We can actually get a check out of this. I don't have to work. I can get benefits. And all I got to do is just let him just lay there 24 hours a day and I could get paid. That's what was going through her pea-brain mind. That alone is a crime in itself. I think both of them deserve life in prison. Let me know what you guys think about this story, and I'm glad that you guys all sent this to me. But keep those officers in your prayers, man. I don't know how they deal with this stuff every day. There's absolutely no reason for people to continue to keep having children and abuse them this way. It's a choice, and I think that when people make these kind of choices, it just has to be punished, because people need to see punishment severe enough to a point to where it scares people. They think about this like, whoa, I don't want to end up in a position like this for hurting my child, but I really don't know what else to tell people. That you know that having sex makes babies, you know that there are a lot of responsibility, you know they're going to cry, you know they're going to be need to fed and be taken care of. It's going to cost you money. It could cost you child support. It could cause you and your woman to argue. Having children comes with a lot. And if you are not prepared to do that, then don't procreate. I think that's pretty simple. Before we get into the details of this story, before I say something that might offend you, you might already be offended. And controversial. You might already be offended, but let me give you a disclaimer first. Some viewers may find the following content offensive and controversial. The information in this video comes from multiple sources, including court records, official police charges, news web articles, and interviews. This video commentary also contains my personal opinions about the facts of this story. The point is to use this story as a cautionary tale in hopes of preventing tragedies like these to children going forward. Viewer discretion is advised. That is your official disclaimer. All right. And again, thank you to lawandcrime.com. So a number of our articles have been coming from them because I just think they do a great job putting it out. So when his son admitted to shaking his infant daughter to the point, and they're talking about, I think, the grandfather, when his son admitted to shaking his infant daughter to the point where she had turned cold and stiff over Memorial Day weekend, the baby's grandfather said it was clear what had to be done. Donald Kamager, 47 years old, said he called the NYPD to ask for a well-being check on Sunday after his son, 23-year-old Damian Kamager, or Comager, I'm not sure how to pronounce that. It's Comager. Sorry, I don't always get these names right. 23 years old, told him that he shook his screaming 3-month-old daughter, Genevieve Comager, went to sleep, and then woke up to find that the baby was dead. Let me put a pause right there, and let me say this. So he's taking responsibility, but the mom was arrested too, but you'll find out why. To the ladies out there, and I know we have a lot of ladies that watch our channel, I'm going to say this and I'm going to say this again. Ladies, stop producing children with men under the age of 30 years old. At least give these men, give your baby a chance. Men usually do better in their late 30s to 40s financially anyway. So why not wait to have a baby with a man that might be a little more responsible, might be a little more prepared, might have all the BS out of his system first? I just think that men aren't ready to be fathers under the age of 30 years old. It doesn't apply to everybody. It definitely didn't apply to me, but I would have been a better father to my child financially if I would have waited. So I'll continue to keep throwing that out there because I don't want to see this keep happening. These fools aren't ready. We have a choice to either produce children or not. And I love the fact that women have so much responsibility and they have that weight on their shoulders. I get that. It's a beautiful thing that mothers can either choose or not to have children. The power is in their hands. But with that great power comes great responsibility. And I know my responsible mothers, my responsible women out there understand that I say that with love. Don't make no more babies with these irresponsible fools. We have to do better as a community. I think it was an accident. I mean, I still had to say something. I couldn't say nothing. This is the grandfather talking. I asked him why, and he told me that he shook her, and then he laid her down because she was screaming. Then he went to sleep because he was tired. He went to sleep, and then he woke up, and she was stiff, and she was cold. My son, he might think I didn't do the right thing, but I did the right thing, he added. The worst fears of investigators were confirmed when around 10:30 p.m. on Sunday, the victim's corpse was found discarded in a wooded area near West 161st Street and the major Deegan Expressway just minutes away from Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. Like trash. He just went to the woods, tossed the baby like she was nothing, like she was an old pair of shoes. I want y'all to look at this, and I'm going to tell you, God, I almost got so upset because y'all know I'm a father. I'm a girl dad primarily because my daughter she stole my heart. I'm a huge, huge girl dad. And I look at this face and I'm like, how can you make a mistake allegedly, cause this baby's death, and then take her lifeless body and just throw her away like she didn't mean anything at all? It's like it makes a worse situation even worse. Newsflash, men, babies cry. Babies cry. If you don't want to make babies, put your penis away. Get prophylactics, get condoms. Maybe stop fucking. Stop getting caught up in the moment. Maybe stop letting the little head outthink the big head. I can't make no excuses for this dumbass. And I want y'all to look at this. This is the face that I see. When I look at this baby, that's what I see. A beautiful, innocent angel. I want to show you guys a picture before I even get to the rest of the article. I want y'all to take a look at this picture. I have a couple of pictures, actually. This is the area that this man took his beautiful, innocent little daughter and just tossed her away like she was nothing. I made this big so you guys can look at this. There's trash. There's a busted up toilet. There's crap everywhere out there. So you mean to tell me that this is the way that he visualizes his daughter? She's no better than the trash that's sitting out here. Can you guys see this? This is what he felt about his daughter. A bunch of disgusting trash, and you said she's as good as gold out here with all of this trash. Isn't that something? That's heartbreaking, man. But let's keep going because we got to get justice for this baby. So let's keep going. On Sunday, May 28th of 2023, so that's only 2 days ago, at approximately 20-24 hours, a 3-month-old female was discovered unconscious and unresponsive in a wooded area in the vicinity of W161 Street, a Major Deegan Expressway. EMS pronounced the infant deceased at the scene. The Office of Chief Medical Examiner, OCME, will determine the cause of death. The investigation remains ongoing at this time. The NYPD confirmed the alarm crime that the baby's parents were arrested. Parents, plural, both. Both parents were arrested and charged around 8 p.m. on Monday. Damian Commager faces charges for murder, manslaughter, and concealment of a human corpse. But the baby's 20-year-old mother, and she's too young to be having kids too. 20 years old. 20-year-old mother also faces charges for her alleged role in a cover-up attempt. Let's talk about this mom. So this mom cared more about sleeping with this bum-ass fool. She wanted to keep this piece of penis laying around, this human dildo. She wanted to keep him around, that she didn't even care about her own flesh and blood, that she said, I'm going to try to help him hide this. And I'm going to tell you, for that alone, that makes you complicit. You probably are not going to get equal time in prison. So whatever he gets, if they give him, how much time do y'all think he should get? 20 years? Give her 10. Give her 10 years. Give her half of whatever he gets. If he gets 25 years, tack on another couple more to hers. That's flat out ridiculous. Ivana Paolozzi, whatever you, Paolozzi. Ivana, the mother, is charged with obstructing governmental administration and concealment of a human corpse. The couple had been staying in a transitional housing shelter on 1041 University Avenue, not far from where the victim was found. So this baby didn't stand a chance at all. They didn't even have a roof over their own damn heads, but yet they are able to make children. And this is why I believe that maybe we need to push the idea that parents can't have children unless they have a license. They have to be qualified to have kids. What are the requirements? You got to be able to pay your own bills and have a roof over your head. You got to have a place to live. And I'm going to say this, and I know people took real offense when I said it last time, but I'm going to say it again because I don't see what's wrong with me saying this. Homeless people should not be parents. Come on, let the hate flow. Come on, let the comments flow. I want to hear what y'all got to say about this. Right? You didn't like I said it last time, I'm going to say it again. I've never heard anybody say this but me. Homeless people should not be parents. You should not have access to children. You should not be able to raise children, be pregnant, or have them. If you can't even put a roof over your own head, because guess what children need? They need stability. They need protection. They need a roof over their head. You need to have a job. You need to have a jobby, Freddie. I got my fingers crossed. You need to have a jobby, Freddie. I got my fingers crossed. 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 It's flat out ridiculous. The victim's grandfather said that he spoke with his pastor and prayed after his son called him early Sunday morning and admitted killing Genevieve when she would not stop crying. The pastor encouraged the grandfather to do the right thing, even if it meant turning in his own son. But that's your legal responsibility too, not just your religious responsibility. Besides the statements Damian Commager made to his father, Fox NY reported the suspect incriminated himself even more when he was hauled out to the 44th precinct on Monday and into the NYPD car. He said, "I love my daughter. I'm sorry. It was a mistake." So anything that you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. Donald Commager told the NY Post that his son was diagnosed with bipolar disorder and schizophrenia as a youth. I don't want to hear that bullcrap as an excuse. He shouldn't have been a father then. He shouldn't have had access to children then if that's the case. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. And if you guys would do me a favor and please click that thumbs up, I'm going to play a couple of news videos from this story. So we want to have one thumb up for everybody watching. So if you'll share this story, a lot of people didn't hear this, but I definitely want y'all to hear what I had to say. But let me know what your true thoughts are. Let me give a shout out real quick to my friend over there. I see you in the chat. That is MTGV Crime Podcast. Make this go viral. Miss V, y'all show her some love. She is in the building. And also, if you can, Miss V, thank you so much for also being a channel member. I got your wrench on there also, so you are a moderator. If you can, post the link to your channel in there so we can come subscribe to you as well. So we have 513 people here. I would love to see 513 people just like that go subscribe to MTGV Crime and Podcast, to Illicit Deeds, to Peachy Tea Time, to Chris Thorns, to all of our friends, man. Show them some love also. Here we go.
A disturbing discovery in the Bronx.
A 3-month-old girl was found dead in the remote wooded area near Yankee Stadium. CBS 2's Dave Carlin has the latest on the case from Highbridge.
This opening in a fence is how police made it to the trash-covered spot in these woods, alongside the major Deegan Expressway, finding the body of Genevieve Commager, just 3 months old, in this heartbreaking location steps from a Deegan pedestrian overpass.
I'm a mother and it's scary just to think about it.
Sunday night, officers scoured this remote section of Highbridge, and the discovery of the tiny lifeless girl brought sorrow and anger for neighbors.
definitely terrific.
How they gonna drop a baby back there?
Police say the baby girl and a 20 and 23-year-old described as her parents have a room on the 4th floor of a transitional housing shelter on University Avenue. Police say they received a tip from a relative concerned about the welfare of the baby. Detectives went to check and took the man and woman to the 44th Precinct Station House. Police sources tell us it was during questioning investigators learned the location of the body.
I have grandchildren, and it saddens me because this baby could have been somebody special.
The baby's cause of death was not released. Autopsy results are pending. It is unclear if the baby was left in the woods alive or died at home or somewhere else. In the High Bridge section of the Bronx, Dave Carlin, CBS 2 News.
So far, no charges have been filed in that case.
That we're also following.
Well, of course, they've already been charged now, so that's actually slightly off. A couple more videos.
Breaking news in the Bronx tonight, unspeakable crime. A mother and father now facing charges in connection with a 3-month-old baby girl who was found dead. The baby's father now charged with murder. Her mother charged with concealment of a human corpse. The baby was found near the Major Deegan Expressway. The father telling reporters tonight it was a mistake.
Father of a 3-month-old baby girl found dead in a wooded area in the Bronx has been charged with her murder.
Baby Genevieve was found Sunday night near 161st Street and the Major Deegan Expressway. Now both her parents are under arrest. Fox 5's Richard Jacobus joins us live outside Bronx Criminal Court, where the two are expected to be arraigned. Richard.
Still no arraignment, Stephen, Natasha, and what a tragic story this is. Damien Commager says he shook his 3-month-old daughter because she would not stop crying. That's what police say. The father told the relative of the baby girl because the little girl, he said, wouldn't stop crying, but also because little Genevieve was not listening to him. The baby girl's body, lifeless body, was found dead along the Major Deegan Expressway over the weekend. Commager, as he was led out of the 44th Precinct last night, answered this question.
I love my daughter. I'm sorry. Did you shake her?
It was a mistake. Those were his words. Police say they spoke with the baby's grandfather, who told them Damien shook Genevieve and then realized he had killed her. He reportedly panicked, put the baby's lifeless body in a bag and dumped her along the expressway in the woods. Commager and the baby's mother, 20-year-old Ivana Palazzi, lived in a housing shelter nearby in University Avenue in the Bronx's High Bridge section. Commager faces murder and manslaughter charges. Palazzi was also arrested and charged with concealment of a human corpse and obstruction. We've been waiting all afternoon for the arraignment here at Bronx Criminal Court. We're told that the court is expected to reconvene tonight at 5:30 and that arraignment could happen as early as 6 o'clock. If it does, we'll bring that to you. The medical examiner still has the baby's body. They have not revealed the cause of death, but the NYPD is still treating this case as a homicide.
Breaking news, the parents of a 3-month-old girl charged in her death, one of them accused of murder. Good evening. I'm Christine Johnson. Maurice is off tonight. That child's body was found discarded in a wooded area in the Bronx last night. Investigators found the remains near West 161st Street and the Major Deegan. CBS 2's Naveen Dhaliwal spoke with the baby's grandfather, who says his son confessed to the killing. Naveen?
Yeah, Christine, the baby's parents just walked out of the 44 precinct in the last hour, and now her father is charged with manslaughter and murder. And it was his own father, the baby's grandfather, who called police and told them something was wrong. As Damien Commager walked out of the police precinct, he said this.
I love my daughter. I'm sorry.
But now he's charged with murder and manslaughter after his 3-month-old baby girl named Genevieve was found in a wooded area off West 161st Street Sunday night.
I think it was an accident, you know, but so, I mean, I still had to say something. I couldn't not say nothing.
Damien's father, the baby's grandfather, Donald Commager, who lives out of state, says he's the one who called police after being concerned for his granddaughter. On the phone, he recalled his son's chilling words.
I did call the police.
And why did you call the police?
Because of what he told me.
What did he tell you?
That she had passed away. And I asked him why, and he told me that he shook her and he laid her down because she was screaming, and he shook her to lay her down, and he went to sleep because he was tired. He went to sleep and wake up, and she was stiff. She was cold.
The baby's mother, 20-year-old Ivana Paolozzi, now facing charges of concealment of a human corpse.
It's horrific.
How they gonna drop a baby back there?
Detectives say the child was staying at this shelter on University Avenue, not far from where she was found. Gilbert Velez would see the couple from time to time.
On occasion, I would see them coming out the shelter. Okay, they were pretty nice. I said good morning.
Now the girl's father may have made a life-changing decision, and so did the grandfather by making that call.
My son, he might don't think I did, but I think I did the right thing.
And that's what he said on the phone. He says it was a tough decision, but in his heart, he knew it was the right one. Now, the medical examiner says that the cause of the baby's death is still under investigation and further testing is required. In the Morsania section of the Bronx, Naveen Dolly.
Now, I know my words might be a little difficult to hear, and I get that not everybody's going to see things the way that I see it. When I say something that seems like it's inflammatory, when I say that homeless people should not be parents, when you hear that, it just sounds like oh my God, Jay. But in all actuality, if you can't provide for yourself or the person that you're with, if y'all can't provide for your own selves, you can't possibly provide for another human being. Therefore, with a baby and a brand new baby, that puts that child in danger. We don't want people putting children in danger. Therefore, we don't want to put them in these situations. So being homeless would put them in that situation. Being a drug addict would put them in a situation like that. There's a lot of different scenarios that are very dangerous for children. And if I call this thing out, then please be open-minded and understand where I'm coming from, that this baby didn't stand a good chance of survival because of the fact that they didn't even know how to provide for themselves. Right? So that's such a beautiful little baby girl. But even if you allegedly made a mistake, what you can't do is you can't compound that mistake, take that child and then try to hide it, try to lie about it, and then treat your child like that broken toilet and all that trash and all that mess back there. The mom deserves at least half as much time in prison for helping him to hide it. Because what if they didn't find the baby's body? Then what? Then it's okay. Now you get to you and your man get to walk away scot-free. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. And I think that needs to be punished for being that stupid. Okay? Flat out stupid. I'm going to get a picture of that angel back up here. Genevieve, look at her eyes, man. That is such a beautiful angel. And I just wish moments like this, I would love to have 100 more me's. And I've said this before. Hand me over the baby. I will raise her. I'll protect her. I will do what I got to do. But stop bringing innocent babies to a demise like this. They don't deserve that. They can't speak for themselves nor defend themselves. If y'all see something, say something. Tell on these sons of bitches. Get them out of our society, because people like this don't need to be parents. I know that might sound harsh, but let me know what you guys think in the comment section. That's what it's there for. Like, share, subscribe. AFC Podcast. Thank you.